Hey, welcome back to the Ping Pong Flix Show. My name is Chris Wong. I've got a lot of content to cover, so let's get right into it. The first topic of the day is none other than CW's live-action Powerpuff Girls. Apparently is set to be reworked and will film a new pilot sometime later this year. They don't go into much information, but it sounds like it wasn't that good. I guess the pilot sucked, and so they'd have to rework it. But there's some indication of why the pilot sucked, because this got leaked. Apparently, someone on Resetera leaked the script for that CW Powerpuff Girls pilot. Hoo boy! So I'm going to read a few here, but there's a lot more if you're interested. You can look that up. Bubbles says, Blossom's fine. I saw her on Insta that she has a boyfriend. I saw on her LinkedIn that she got promoted. And I saw on Facebook that she still talks to Grandpa despite their political differences. And Buttercup says, coming back here is probably triggering for her. Bubbles says, why? Because she's the one who killed Mojo. I mean, moveon.org. What? It's terrible. Buttercup says, Bloss, wake up or we'll leak your nudes everywhere. Off Bubbles' confusion, that worked on you once. And then here's another one. Bubbles says, look, we love being Powerpuff Girls, but sometimes we wanted to be other things too. Like in Dirty Dancing, Baby wanted to join the Peace Corps, but she also wanted to be a fancy slut, and her dad didn't get it. Jerry, I don't know what that means. And yeah, and then someone's having sex, continues for Buttercup's room, then abruptly stops. Blossom opens the door, finds Buttercup in bed with Macy, the woman she eyed at the bar the night before. They've just finished. Oh God, I'm sorry. Yeah, so there's a lot more in there, and the script is definitely pretty terrible. Pretty terrible. And yeah. I don't think it's working out right now, so that's why they have to reshoot the pilot. They probably had an audience or a test screening, and everybody was like, "Oh, yeah, no." If they want to get an actual, season out of this, they got to make sure the pilot is top notch, and apparently it's not the case. So they're reworking the entire pilot. They're going to reshoot the pilot with the same cast members and stuff like that. So we'll see how that turns out. All right, so the next thing let's talk about here is, oh my God, yes, that's not another Transformers movie, or it's not another Spider-Man. No, this is Uncharted. Yeah, that don't look like Nathan Drake. That don't look like Sully. Sorry, I don't think this is gonna be good. I mean, people are already canceling it before it's even we even seeing anything more. And honestly, I'm like, I guess we'll just have to see the trailer. But that's another look. There you have it. I guess Nathan Drake, and I guess Sully. But yeah, I guess I'm interested to see more from it to make an accurate thought of how this adaptation is going to turn out. Yeah. All right. Moving on. Deadline is reporting that Timothée Chalamet is tapped to... Is it Chalamet or Chalamet? I'm going to say Chalamet. Tapped to play Willy Wonka in new origin tale from Warner Brothers and the Roald Dahl Story Company. So he is going to play a young Willy Wonka, and it's going to be before he actually opens up the chocolate factory. Apparently, there's some adventure going on during that time before he becomes the Willy Wonka that we know in the Willy Wonka and Chocolate Factory. So this before all that, and there's going to be some singing, there's going to be dancing, and apparently Timothy is able to do that kind of stuff, or is up to do that kind of stuff. So let's see what happens with this new Willy Wonka movie that is coming out from Warner Brothers. Like I said, there's a lot of content coming out. Okay, here's another one. J.J. Abrams has confirmed that the Portal movie is still in development at Warner Brothers. So this was in the works. I remember this was in the works for a while, but I didn't know JJ was actually attached to it. But yeah, actually they are working on a script. They are working on this project. It's still in development. If you don't know, Portal is like that kind of a spin-off to Half-Life, or using the Half-Life engine in a way. And it's about the player trying to escape using portal systems where you shoot a portal and then you go through it and doing all these different puzzle things, while this AI system is named, Gladidos, Gladys, the cake is a lie. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, so I love that game. I was really intrigued when they were going to make that, but like all game to movie adaptations, it doesn't always work out. So I was interested in this. But with J.J. Abrams attached, it may work out, or at least maybe us most satisfying. I don't know if he's directing it or not, but the Bad Robots Productions at least is working on it. So he could just be a producer at this rate, I think. But that's interesting. I could certainly see how that could be a very compelling, and if nobody has it, in Portal, then the twists and turns and stuff like that would be cool. So yeah, let's see what happens with this. I'm actually very intrigued by this game to movie adaptation, Portal. All right, so the Hollywood Reporting is reporting another massive deal between Amazon and MGM. If a deal closes, the e-commerce giant Amazon would have access to MGM Studios' massive library, comprising over 4,000 titles and 17,000 hours of television for its Prime Video streaming service. This is huge. More streaming, and Amazon is going like head to head with Netflix. At this point, HBO Max and Disney is kind of like, whoa, this is huge. So definitely this is going to be something. They also have access to the brands like James Bond. Amazon could own James Bond, and they could do a lot of things with James Bond. They could really get into the cinemas and things like that. So they're really trying to get a lot of that entertainment business, if you will. This is huge. If this happens, this is crazy. And definitely it'll be good for, I think, us, because I wouldn't want to have another MGM Plus or something. I have Amazon. So if there's more things that going to these, like, maybe we can have like 2 or 3 good ones, right? And then we can only pay monthlies for those. And all these other companies are signing a deal with those streaming services. But then you also have the thought that, well, is this pushing towards a more streamlined streaming service future and less in the cinematic, movies? I don't know. I feel like even Netflix would probably want to take a little bit of that theatrical pie, if you will. Seeing that Army of the Dead came out to 600 theaters, that's the most they've ever had. I think it can only go up, maybe. Amazon, maybe as well. But they're also getting to things like Lord of the Rings, for instance. That's huge. So what can they do with that? I don't know. How about Stargate? Let's have more Stargate. That's a brand they could use, right, from MGM. Maybe we can have more Stargate. I think a lot of people would love that. All right. Talking about streaming services, we're going to get right into Netflix. Netflix will host its own virtual fan event called Geeked Week from June 7th to June 11th. The event will celebrate the fans, provide attendees with updates, exclusive screenings of upcoming content, and include appearances from fan favorite stars. So over the years, Netflix has been lucky enough to inspire loyal followings for series and films like Stranger Things, Castlevania, The Old Guard, and many more. But these fandoms aren't just about making gifts, buying merch, or theorizing about the next big twist. They're about sharing excitement and connecting with people from all over the world who hold the same passion for those characters and stories. Netflix Geeked, Netflix home for all things genre entertainment, wants to celebrate these communities and bring them together. That's where we're launching Geeked Week. So it'll probably feature exclusive content like new trailers, art, and news coverages, as well as appearances from Netflix fan favorite original series. That's awesome. This is another cool one coming. Just like maybe a DC fandom or, all these San Diego Comic-Cons, they're running their own because of the virtual events. They're running their own virtual fan events. They don't have to pay San Diego Comic-Con to run a virtual fan event. They're going to do their own. And power to them, because now they can control what they can put. They can put a lot more because they don't have to pay these booth fees and whatever. So there's a lot more things that these services can now do. I mean, maybe there's going to be an Amazon fan event one day, with the MGM thing, but for now, Netflix, everything you want from Netflix is probably going to be there. I'm really excited for this because maybe this is where we get a little idea of what's more to come from Zack Snyder. Zack Snyder is all in. I mean, actually, let me change this. Netflix is all in on Zack Snyder. All in. They just released this today. Go behind the scenes with Zack Snyder in a 4-hour episode deep dive into his creative process as he discusses his work on Army of the Dead, 300, and Justice League. This is the first episode of Snyder School, not only on Netflix Film Club on YouTube. Hell yeah, they're milking it. They're showing everything Zack Snyder this, Zack Snyder that. Look at what we're doing. This is cool. This is really awesome. This is the kind of stuff we would have wanted from Warner Brothers about Justice League. But no, we didn't really get that much. They're kind of just like, here we go. In fact, even the Blu-ray DVD, people who got it from the UK, there's a slip and there's like a small slip of the upcoming DC movies, and that's it. There's nothing else. No companion, nothing. It's really like lame. But it's great to see that Netflix is all in on Zack Snyder. They absolutely love him. They are marketing him. And they're even giving him this really cool exclusive look at how he directs things, even how he does the openings for not just Army of the Dead, Watchmen, and Justice League, and it's really cool. They're definitely promoting him like crazy. It's awesome to see that love. That's why I'm kind of excited for Geek Week, because maybe there's going to be a little bit more from Zack Snyder over there, and that'd be kind of sweet to see, because I really want to know what his next Snyderverse is, right? He talks about his new big universe he's building over there. What are you building, man? What are you building, Zack? I want to see it. I definitely want to see it. But he's like, hush, hush, shh. I can't tell you right now, but in due time. I want you to get all hyped up and excited. But first, there's still Army of the Dead content to come out. I mean, there's still a lot of Army of the Dead content to come out. Joe Manganiello is excited. He says, coming soon, by the way. If you loved Army of the Dead, you got to check out Army of the Dead Prequels, Army of Thieves, and Army of the Dead Las Vegas. Lost Vegas, I would say. Lost Vegas. So, Screen Rant put that huge little thing about Army of the Dead Lost Vegas. And I was going to see if it's Steven who wrote it, but no, it's somebody else. Kara Hadash. Check out this article. I'm going to read it, though. Army of the Dead is getting an anime spin-off with Army of the Dead Las Vegas, and here's everything to know about the show's release date, cast, and story details. The Netflix series will serve as a prequel to Zack Snyder's live-action feature film, which hit the streamer, this month, May 2021. So they're working on that. That's really awesome. Jay Oliva is at the helm of Las Vegas with Shay Hatnan, who wrote Army of the Dead, writing the animated series. This is huge. This is really, really big. Also, Army of Thieves is a live action film, which is also a prequel. The project will star Matthias Schweighöfer. Okay, Dieter, the guy who played Dieter. I can't say his name. During the early stages of the outbreak, and he's also directing it as well. So Dieter's also directing it. The prequel will serve as an international heist featuring Dieter's safe-cracking abilities. I don't think there's any zombies in that one because that was before the zombies. He didn't see any zombies at the time. Maybe that's where we'll find out how he knows how to shoot so well, given that he has not shoot, or maybe not. We'll see. But for the fellow prequel, Lost Vegas, here's what to expect. At this time, there is no release date attached for this, right? And granted, Army of Thieves finished filming in the late 2020, and the movie currently has a planned 2021 release date. So we're still going to see Army of Thieves this year, another Army, part of the franchise this year. So that's really cool. But Netflix will likely want to space out that future Army of the Dead projects, make a debut for Las Vegas in early mid 2022. A safe bet. That's just their thinking. It's not been confirmed, but It's an anime. The 6-episode series will go through an entirely different process in terms of production compared to the other titles in the franchise, of course, because it's all anime. It's all animated, right? It will feature familiar actors to fans of the original movie. Dave Bautista is back. He's voicing Scott Ward in the prequel tale. Other characters, returning characters, is Scott's daughter, Kate Ward, Maria Cruz, who's played by Ana de la Reguera. I can't really say the last name, sorry. Marianne Peters, Tig Notaro, Vandero, Omar Hardwick, and then also the series will actually be led by a figure named Rose. Interesting name. Rose, who Joe Manganiello voices, and that's why he's putting this out. He's the lead for this. And there's also notable names like Christian Slater, Vanessa Hudgens, Ross Butler, Yatid Badaki, is that how you say it? Jenna Malone, Nolan North, the real Nathan Drake is going to be there, and Ray Porter, Darkseid himself. I didn't know that. That's pretty cool. Ray Porter himself is going to be in Army of the Dead Las Vegas. What is Las Vegas? Well, even though many of the characters met their demise in Army of the Dead, the movie left many lingering questions. Las Vegas will dive into the universe by presenting the early days of the outbreak, which Deborah Snyder described as the official backstory to some core characters. The anime series plans to touch on the sci-fi elements surrounding the intended purpose of Zeus and his bioengineered DNA. So that's where we're going to find out about everything, which was an experiment that went horribly wrong. Scott's origins will also be on display, as will those who were heavily featured in the initial movie. So pretty much the opening, based on the action-packed montage at the start of Army of the Dead. Scott and the other mercenaries put it all on the line to save humanity in Las Vegas before the government quarantined the city. The group's efforts will be on full display in Army of the Dead's Las Vegas, including the traumas they endured within the city's limits. And this is the point where maybe we'll get to see if there's any of that time loop stuff going on, if at all. I think there will be. I think it's going to be like one of those mind-blowing things. Unless they're saving for that sequel, unless Zack's saving for that sequel, which he said, if the fans want it, they're going to make a sequel. So please watch Army of the Dead as much as you can, because I want to see what happens next. So that's awesome. That's awesome to see. I can't wait for Army of the Dead, Las Vegas. That would be insane. That was almost a genre, etc. Speaking of Zack Snyder stuff, Sucker Punch stars Jenna Malone and Abby Cornish campaign to release Zack Snyder's original cut of the film with Release the Snyder Punch. That's a new hashtag, apparently. It's not Release the Snyder Cut, it's Release the Snyder Punch, because of Sucker Punch. So this has been going around for a while. There was a Release the Snyder Punch account that were kind of doing it for a bit. Zack Snyder has confirmed there is another version of the Sucker Punch movie, and it would tell the story a little bit differently, which may actually be much more compelling for people, because the studio really changed it up. They wanted something different, of course. We already know that. We already know that the Snyder Cut version of things are much better than the studio wanted, right? The one that studio had him put out. So definitely, I am really much looking forward to that. Jenna Malone put it on her Instagram story. Zack Snyder confirms the director's cut of Sucker Punch exists. And she put on her story, "Honey, let's keep the movement going, shall we?" But she put the Release the Snyder Cut here, but that still makes sense. Release the Snyder Cut of Sucker Punch. And she plays Rocket, by the way, as you know, who's also going to be in Army of the Dead, Las Vegas. And then also, Jenna Malone and Abby Cornish also Jenna Malone put Release the Snyder Punch on her Twitter account. Abby Cornish also put that same article, I forgot to show it, article as well. Abby Cornish, who plays Sweet Pea, and depending on who you talk to, she may actually be Baby Doll as well. But yeah, she wants to release the Snyder Cut of Sucker Punch as well. So the actresses are now saying, release the Snyder Punch. So hopefully they do. Hopefully that happens later on. But seeing it's a Warner Brothers property, you know what that means. Maybe if Warner Bros. Really hates Snyder that much, they can sell it for pennies to Netflix. I don't know how that would come across, but seeing it's not a DC brand or anything, they might just like, here you go. And then Netflix is like, all right, more Snyder stuff. I love it. I love you, Zack Snyder. Netflix is like really loving Zack Snyder right now. So that's really cool. That's really cool. All right. Well, let's get into a little bit DC. Here is Asher Angel and Jacqueline Grazer. I showed you the other kids from before, how they're like looking older. Well, these guys are like much older now. Like, I think they're adults. No, like so they're definitely gonna have to get filming both movies. Don't wait. At this point, you're at this point now. Don't wait. Just go and film both Shazam 2 and 3. No time to lose. In fact, Black Adam versus Shazam, film all of them. They're getting so much older. I bet their voices are very deep at this point. So it's going to be very hard to show them as kids. By the time they're done, he's going to look like Zachary, or look as old and tall as Zachary Levi, and that magic is no longer going to be there. But so that's what they currently look like for Shazam, Fury of the Gods. Another update from Sasha Calle in terms of Supergirl. She actually retweeted someone's fan art of Supergirl. Incredible, she says, with a heart. I saw Sasha Calle's new hair and thought Supergirl would look really good in that hair. And she posted a picture here of Sasha Calle with the new hair. And maybe Sasha actually retweeting that kind of just maybe acknowledges that, yeah, I'm going to have short hair for that. And just looking at that, it almost looks like maybe, like this could be a female version of Henry Cavill's Superman. Hey, don't be saying like I'm not, it's not anything official, or this is not a scoop. I'm just speculating that maybe they're going to go that route. I don't know. But wait a minute, is that a super thong? Wow, that'd be tight though. But anyway, that's Sasha Calle as Supergirl. Is it going to be the blue? If it's the blue and red, then it's not Sir-El at all. It's going to be definitely Supergirl, or a woman version of Superman in another universe. We'll see. But Sasha is pretty happy. She thinks that's pretty dope. That's incredible. And I'd be pretty happy if it looked like that. If you look like that, I mean, yeah. I mean, maybe not to the tights thing, but like that's a little bit too, that's a thong. So I don't know if you do that, they'd do that. But other than that, awesome. I think the short hair could actually very much work out. All right. The last thing I'm going to cover is Robert Pattinson has signed an overall first look deal with Warner Brothers. Wow. Really? So this is actually coming from the Hollywood Reporter, but I can't find that initial tweet. Basically, he said this. Warner Brothers Pictures and HBO have always been synonymous with groundbreaking filmmaking, Pattinson said in a statement. I'm thrilled to be working with them to discover the most exciting new voices in film and television to help bring their visions to life. I've loved working with the studio over the years and have so much respect for their dedication, their willingness to take chances, and their desire to push that envelope creatively. Is this the same Warner Brothers Pictures? Are you really? That's interesting. Apparently, they're giving him the same treatment as they give James Gunn, as from what he's seen, right? Like, obviously, Zack Snyder, they're like, nah, we're gonna mess with him because we just want to mess with him. But Robert Pattinson, maybe they won't. Maybe they love him enough. They've gone with him through Tenet and other things as well. But he's went from indie movies and auteur filmmakers. Now he's getting into the big budget stuff. Like I said, Tenet and the Batman. So what's interesting is that the latter movie, Batman, which Pattinson plays Bruce Wayne, also known as Batman, is being directed by Matt Reeves. The latter movie wrapped production earlier this year, and the new deal will appear to indicate that Warner's likes what it sees so far. The Batman is due to be released March 4th of 2022. So maybe what they like to see so far is like, hey, how about this? Play more Batman. You got a deal. You're right in there. Well, let's get more Batman out of you. You know, you're with Warner Brothers now, and this is what they had to say. And it's funny because I don't see Toby Emmerich or Walter Hamada in these things, but this is coming from Warner's president of production development Courtney Valenti and New Line president and CCO Richard Brenner in a joint statement. Weird, where's Toby? We have been incredibly impressed with Rob's eye for identifying dynamic new filmmakers. Additionally, he is continually nurturing exciting story ideas into compelling screenplays. We are so excited that Warner Bros. And New Line will be his home, that we get to benefit from his creative commercial passions. What does this mean, really? This means that there's any production that could, utilize Robert Pattinson. He has the first look. First, meaning he'll get a shot at playing whatever lead character that they have first before anybody else. In terms of production as well, if he has an idea, if he has like a creative story that he wants to do, he has to go to Warner Brothers first and to go through that process. That's where the first look deal comes from. So definitely, I also believe this means that they love what they see in the Batman. They want him more as the Batman, and he's really much like, I'm all in on Warner Brothers. Like how Netflix is all in on Snyder, Warner Brothers is all in on Robert Pattinson. I know it's not the same thing. One's a director, another one's, Robert Pattinson is a producer and actor, but definitely could see a little bit more projects with Robert Pattinson involved in that. Let's see what happens with that. But I am kind of interested why Toby Emmerich is not even commented on this. That's interesting. That's interesting indeed. But there you have it. I feel that there's going to be more Batman out of Robert Pattinson and more other projects coming down the line with him and Warner Brothers. All right, let's get into the news topics today. I mean, not the news topics. We already went through that. Let's get into the members' comments and questions. Here we go. Whoops. As in all cases, it always turns off. Okay, here we go. Francis Louis Rayla. That would be worse. Legit Batman throwing some jokes. Netflix has to enter the conversation. Yeah. That like I said, gotta watch the whole thing. We can only pray for some sense to come for making DC movies. Disney already has its build structure and DC needs structure desperately. DC needs structure, absolutely. Raj, sorry, but this is a BS story. Zaslav is very excited about the DC IP, as witnessed on his press run about the Warner Media and Discovery merger, which won't take place until mid-2022, pending regulatory approval. Exactly. That's exactly what I said. Honestly, I don't think there are any other director that gets scrutinized more than Zack Snyder. It's really crazy. Every movie he makes is a problem for someone. Also, when you see certain reviews, the word perfect comes up. Who else gets judged by this impossible standard other than film? And I know you don't see too much people get like that. I mean, I guess Michael Bay does get a lot of that, but sometimes the things he does is absolutely what he's trying to do. Like, he's not holding back on things, but yeah, I mean, it's really strange why people hate on Zack Snyder that much. You almost want to believe like they really wanted to push him out, and so they planted, conspiratorial, planted bloggers and things like that to make it negative, right? Because even now, Zack Snyder's Justice League and Army of the Dead is a fresh tomato, so we know that most of the critics, like it and love it. So what happened, right? Who are these people? Or maybe it's us thinking we, really, really taking it hard, and saying like, what the hell, and just like attacking, and they push back, so I don't know. Hey Chris, a rumor of a Disney wanting to purchase DC would be insane. The comic book universe would collide and the crossover battles would begin, but not until DC's heroes and villains battle it out. My feeling about this is cool. Now let the organization, Amazon, Disney, Netflix, with the best interest to put out the best work, make their move and bring us some amazing stuff. It seems as though the current Warner Brothers executives running the place do not have the guts to put on amazing content as the people want to see. At the end of the day, restore the survivors. Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're going to do it at all. Discovery, I mean, it's a giant evergreen IP. But I'm saying that if that all happened in some weird future, yeah, Amazon, Netflix would be pretty cool. Hey Chris, what are your top 3 all-time live-action superhero film? All-time live-action superhero films? I already got it for you. And it's the Snyderverse. It really is. It's, depending my feelings in the day, Zack Snyder's Justice League and Batman v Superman are the top. Then comes Man of Steel. You get top 3. There you go. I think most likely Cavill will play McLeod because the Kurgan wasn't Scottish and didn't wear a kilt. That's true. See, yes, because he's been teasing kilt and on his Instagram. So that's why I'm thinking. I figured Cavill will probably want to play the hero anyway. Less rape and always never more sexual assault, maybe. Oh yeah, so I thought about it, and this is not what you're talking about. The Watchmen did have a sexual assault or a rape scene, I guess, quote unquote rape. Dominic West's character convinced Lena Headey's, a Spartan queen, to have sex with him to curry his favor to save Leonidas, and comedian tried to assault Silk Spectre. Yeah, so comedian, Sally Jupiter. Really. So, but yeah, the original anyway. But yeah, that happened. But see, now the Spartan Queen having sex with that other guy didn't actually happen in the comics. That wasn't in the 300 comics. So that, Zack put that in there. But the comedian assaulting Sally Jupiter, that did happen in Alan Moore's comic. You almost had me there. I did, didn't you? Didn't I? I did, didn't I? Okay, the David Zaslav literally began his description of the great properties Discovery will be connected to with Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. Yeah, totally what he'd say if they were going to sell all that off. Exactly. That was like the first thing he said. So he obviously knows that DC is a big IP for them. To be fair, Clark needs to team up with Billy, probably the entire team of kids, to take down Black Adam and vice versa. Lest we forget one of Soup's key weaknesses is magic. Thus, by default, he has a disadvantage against a champion of magic. Yeah. Well, that's interesting. A superhero who thinks she's the daughter of Clark and Lois. People have pointed out that she looks like she could be related to Henry Cavill. Personally, I'd go for the Injustice What Could Have Been. Lara Kent, who is the daughter of Clark and Lois. That's another option. Haha, you almost had me. I did. Almost had you. Yeah. That was fun. Hey, Chris, the rape scene in Watchmen is the flashback of comedian forcing himself in the first Silk Spectre stopped by Hood Justice. Yeah. I think many fans are missing a big point here. Zaslav wouldn't sell an evergreen IP like DC to a streaming platform like Amazon or Netflix because no matter how bad it seems, the COVID situation is temporary, and once theaters open, an IP like DC with the potential to bring billions plus dollars per movie and people itching to flock to traditional blockbusters will surely bring in more money for the investors. You don't sell real estate to buy food. You only ever sell it when you find a bigger piece of real estate to invest in. Currently, there are only 2 big comic book properties, and DC is one of them. Exactly, man. Looks like a camp monstrosity. Utterly. Oh, you're talking about, okay, Eternals reaction we did. I woke up my boy. I didn't really wake him up. It was time for school, and they were kind of like, I want breakfast. But it says, hey, you want to react to a Marvel trailer? You say, oh, okay. So, and then when we started watching, I just realized that it was pretty dull. It's pretty boring. Yeah, not holding me at all, but they'll watch in movie theaters, and it's not that they want to watch that in movie theaters. They just want to watch in movie theaters in general. They want the popcorn experience and stuff like that, which I'm very proud of because I'm always like that. I'm like, I want to be in a big theater, the lights dimmed down, the smell of popcorn. It's amazing. Your kids' initial reactions were mine as well. Pretty much, Nomadland, in my opinion, is an absolute slog. So is the writer. This looks like more of the same bland, flat, lifeless digital cinematography characteristic of the MCU too. Woo! Beautiful family. I have a ton of respect for this man, Chris. Thank you. Thank you for your kind words, sir. Think your oldest son put it best. A big yawn and then, yeah, I'll see it in theaters. Pretty much my attitude to stories of MCU at this point. After Infinity War, it's pretty much burned out. Still hoping it'll at least be entertaining. The youngest, my energy, LOL, looks weak to me like a watered down Watchman. Yeah, I know. He's like the little one's the cutest because he's like, I don't want to watch that. I don't want to watch. And he points over to this book. And granted, he's never watched the Justice League version, so all he knows is Zack Snyder's Justice League because that's the only Justice League he's seen. And he was like, he kept pointing at this. If you're watching the trailer reaction, he kept pointing at this. I want to watch that one. I want to watch that one. And he's like, is that Justice League? And it's like, no, that's not Justice League. I want to watch Justice League. And so, really cute, man. It's really cute. I love him. So, yeah. But I'll still continue doing Marvel reactions. And it's just interesting to see their take on it because I'm like, this is what I'm seeing. And I'm like, am I crazy? Am I not excited for this? And, you know, my kids looking at that. And my kids are Marvel fans. Like, literally, like, I think this new... They really have to sell it to them, I think. This new slate of Marvel movies, they really got to sell it to them because they're coming off from Iron Man, Captain America, you know, those, Thor, right? And we're going to have more Thor. More Hulk, I think. I think there's more Hulk. But we're coming off of the big ones, right? And Endgame and everything. And now, you know, my middle son, he's Iron Man. He's like super Iron Man fan. And you guys don't have Iron Man anymore. So it's like, what's going to happen now? That's what excites him, a lot of it. So we'll see. We'll see if the new Marvel movies excite them or it kind of, you know, maybe we'll start to see this in terms of interest in Marvel. So we'll see. All right, well, that is it. That's it for tonight. That was a lot of topics that I covered in genre movies, including DC. But yeah, certainly interesting. Every day is an interesting thing, and I'm happy to report that to you. So if you love this daily dose of entertainment news and content, please click the like button, hit the subscribe button, ring that notification bell, keep this hot dog light on, and I'll see you next time. Bye.